mechanism consisting of a worm engaging with and driving a worm wheel. The two axes usually being at right angles to each other, used where relatively low speed and relatively large amplification of power are desired. Secondly, it's also called a worm wheel. A gear wheel is driven by a worm.
The worm drive is a gear arrangement which consists of a worm or worm screw and a worm gear or worm wheel. One turn of the worm results in the advancement of one tooth of the gear. This is the reason for the high reduction ratios. A screw is said to have one start if it advances one groove in one complete revolution. It is said to have two starts if it advances two grooves in one revolution. A high lead angle on the worm reduces friction losses, therefore increasing efficiency, while on the other hand, a low lead angle reduces gear speed and increases torque. Lead angle is the angle the teeth make with the axis of the worm, also known as the helix angle. Worm drives and worm wheels must have the same pitch and pressure angle in order to mesh. Velocity ratio is determined by the number of teeth on the worm gear and the number of starts on the worm. Left and right hand worm, this is determined by an observer looking along the axis of the worm or gear and observing in which direction the teeth twist as they recede from the observer. If the teeth twist clockwise, it is right hand. Teeth twist counterclockwise, it is left hand. To summarize, driving element is the screw and the driven element is the helical gear.
There are multiple ways in which gear blanks can be shaped through the cutting and finishing processes. Firstly, gear forming. In gear form cutting, the cutting edge of the cutting tool has a shape identical with the shape of the space between the gear teeth. Two machining operations, milling and broaching, can be employed to form cut gear teeth. Gear hobbing. Gear hobbing is a machining process in which gear teeth are progressively generated by a series of cuts with a helical cutting tool. All motions in hobbing are rotary, and the hob and gear blank rotate continuously as in two gears meshing until all teeth are cut. As produced by any of the processes described, the surface finish and dimensional accuracy may not be accurate enough for certain applications. Several finishing operations are available, including the conventional process of shaving and a number of abrasive operations, including grinding, honing, and lapping.
Worm gear drives are known for their multiple applications. Only listing a few, worm gears can be used in gate control. History has proven that worm gears are very popularly used in hoisting mechanisms. Worm gear drives are also used in automobile steering. Because worm gears have a self-locking feature, they are popularly used in lift mechanisms and escalators. They can also be used in conveyors. A very common application of worm gears are in hose clinchers, as well as fishing rods. And then of course the most trendy application of worm gears are within instrument tuning. What sets worm gear drives apart from other gear sets is that one of the gears is in the form of a screw. The drive axes are perpendicular to one another, thus allowing worm drives to take up considerably less space than any equivalent gear arrangement. The unique self-locking feature prevents the load from free falling when the gear is used in a hoisting mechanism. It can operate with a missing tooth, thus making worm gears an effective and reliable piece of equipment.
So that I never feel alone again. They've always been so kind, but now they brought you away from me. I hope they didn't get your mind.